We are on the morning break of the Undercover Policing Inquiry questioning of Alan Mitchell, the former Chief Superintendent of the SDS between 2003 and 2005. He was also head of the National Public Order Intelligence Unit, the other Spy Cops unit, which is supposedly going to be the subject of Tranche 4, if that happens. More on that later. And he has been asked a few questions about that, which we weren't necessarily expecting. He claims to have no memory whatsoever of anything to do with James Thompson, so the questions on that really went nowhere.
Although he said that, well, that going to Indonesia day after 9/11, that's outrageous. Like planning a gun to get a gun in France shouldn't happen. But then, he must have been told about it, he says, but he can't remember.
Yeah. Wasn't that a significant thing? He said, well, I was doing a lot of HR. There were a lot of significant things.
HR is like...
Yeah, right.
This is like, he should have been fired. He should have gone to jail, instead they kept him.
Yeah, and gave him a gun.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, he was asked, he claimed to have no knowledge of any of the fathering of children. His knowledge of sexual relationships was incredibly limited. He said that since the Cold War, there was a culture of need to know, that if you need to know, you'll be told, and if you didn't, you wouldn't ask.
Yeah, it's like... And it's, he said that about relationships, but in fact about the entire SDS. Although we know by now that the Special Branch was so small and so many people had been involved in the SDS. Of course, they knew about it. But he's kind of doing a new presentation of, I don't know, just saying a lot, talking a lot, and then saying, "Oh, that's awful," but didn't know about it.
Yeah. He did mention that the SDS, the senior manager of Special Branch, were very proud of the SDS. That whenever there was a new commissioner of police, always the first place they would be taken was the SDS on their tour, and it was the elite. It was considered the best.
Yeah. So we heard that yesterday as well, with Roger Pierce, who basically ended his testimony with, "It's the best unit we ever had, and it should never have. It should still exist. It should never have been shut down." With everything that came out during these hearings, it's like an incredible thing to say.
Said that majority of just sexual deception.
Yeah, because there were only 3 during his tenure, which is 3 out of 10, and we don't talk about the closed offices,
which is about 4 in that period.
Yeah, so. 3 out of 5 or 6 had relationships, which is still quite a lot.
Yeah, he says that when the revelations about Mark Kennedy was exposed, he was asked to contact all the serving NPOIU officers and former SDS officers that he had contacts for at the time, to check with them as a sort of truth and reconciliation. Did they engage in sexual abuse while they were deployed undercover? And he said that he did, and none of the closed officers said they had. So that he took that as meaning that they hadn't. And he's like, well, how could you be so sure that it was a majority, just given, what we've learned recently, that the HN60s only admitted to it a few weeks ago. And he said, well, I know them and I know their wives. So, the idea that...
we go back to Mitting, who said at the very beginning, if undercover officers are still together with the wife that they started out with, they won't have had sexual relationships, as if extramarital affairs don't exist. And we know most of us were married to begin with and got divorced.
There was also that we saw the letter again from the partner of HN123, which talks about undercover officers bragging about sexual relationships, fathering children at a social event. And it was put to him, how come this woman knows more about the sexual abuses of undercover officers than the undercover officers' management? And he said, oh, well, she went to a social function. And I didn't
know that.
I didn't go. So how would I know if I didn't go to a social function? I mean, yeah, ridiculous, really.
It's ridiculous. Like, you're responsible for this in the hierarchy of of Special Branch, and you don't know about this, and it's so incredible. But it's like, I would like to, see that Signal group where they all agreed on their approach.
As if they use Signal, come on.
Oh, well, okay, what's
that? It'd be Facebook Messenger.
No, but it's like, it's so clear that they even use the same phrasing, all of them. Like, can't remember, can't recall.
I can't remember at this time.
Yeah, today. Can't remember today, someone said.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then the sort of more complicated one that he's doing all the time is like, I must have known at the time, just can't remember now.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah.
that's like sort of a weird getting out of. So
the other big news of this morning, which is a bit of a bombshell, is that the Home Office is attempting to shut down the inquiry. Obviously, the chair is retiring after this phase of hearings. He will be giving an interim report on the SDS. He won't make any recommendations. In theory, there was meant to be a new chair to do the remaining 3 sections of the inquiry, which is to look at the NPORU, the other regional undercover deployments, and recommendations and reform of future undercover policing. The alternatives presented by the Home Office are clearly and very unsatisfactory. They suggest a new statutory body with very limited scope, a non-statutory body, or just releasing a number of documents to individuals without any investigation into them whatsoever. It's an appalling choice by a very authoritarian government, which continues to shock and appall anybody who believes in anything remotely approaching democratic institutions. I think there's a very high danger that there will be no more hearings of the undercover police inquiry once this section of it all and the closing statements are finished. I would really recommend anybody. I've shared the links to the consultation on social media. I'll do that a lot more. There'll be a more formal response from groups.
And from the CPs, the core participants, activists that take part actually in the inquiry. There will be some more guidance, some more, we'll talk about what the best approach would be, whether it is a good idea to, because you really have to, you can do tick one of the 3 boxes and you're given 300 words to explain why you think that is a good idea, which is, it's not, I haven't read it properly yet, but we need to talk to the lawyers and see what would be the best approach if we take any legal steps. So if you are a CP, wait and get in touch to see what.
It is possible to fill in the consultation anonymously, and if people want to do that, they're more than welcome. You don't have to be a CP to fill in the consultation. I'd recommend that people do respond. We've got until the 20th of August in order to do so. So there will be plenty of opportunity to kind of work out exactly what to say or whatever. But I think it's enough to just signal really that the current government is clearly desperate for the truth not to come out. I can't say I'm surprised, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like 11 years ago today that the inquiry started, or that the remits were published, and it was even a year longer, a year before that Theresa May called the inquiry. So it has been going on for a very long time, but that's basically not our fault. That's the police for having thrown their toys out, and although they have a huge staff and are being paid loads of money, they're behind them, disorganized, and it's like we just thought we were getting going again, and now this. It's like it's like you say, a bombshell and a slap in the face, and sort of ignoring all the rights of the people that were spied on by Mark Kennedy and other officers in the NPIAU, who are partly sort of responsible of disclosing this whole thing, and have the full right to get to know what happened, who knew, who authorized these officers. And it looks like we're going to have a limited version of that.
If anything at all. Similarly, I haven't read it in detail enough yet, but it feels like you're kind of pushing towards the least amount of investigations possible by the consultation. And I think we all know that governments only publish consultations when they've already made their mind up in order to kind of create some sort of rubber stamping exercise. It is appalling. The current government is awful. I would recommend that everybody gets involved in revolutionary activity in order to overthrow the current government and install a much better system of living. Until we do that, comrades, we are fucked, quite frankly, and the world is dying. So, on that cheery note, thanks to everybody who likes and shares these videos. It makes a huge difference how much visibility there is. We'll see you all at lunchtime, where we'll do an update on what's happened and maybe more detail about how we're going to stop this inquiry from being shut down. Bye for now.